Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Distance Dilemma podcast with me, Sean Finn, and Imran Malik Mar. Correct? There we go.
Yes, let's go, people.
5 episodes in, and we finally got it first try.
Big movements, guys. Big movements.
Big move. But yeah, we did not get to record an episode last week just because me and Imran's schedules were like absolute opposites. Anytime Imran was free, I was not free. And then Imran also came back to Ireland as well. And
Funny
it's
enough,
been,
yeah.
it feels, especially because we recorded that last episode like on a Sunday night, so it feels like we haven't recorded in yonks, even though actually really, relatively speaking hasn't been that long, but yeah, welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Welcome back, Imran, of course, as well.
Yeah, it felt like a full 2 week break, even though it wasn't because we had recorded it on the Sunday. And we haven't really actually spoke that much since.
No, it's been,
Sean was
we've
fairly
both been
busy. Yeah, I mean, I was back in Ireland, as Sean said, for a weekend with my mates. Went down to Kilkenny. That was fun. Got to meet some family and stuff like that as well. But it was too quick. It felt like every time I come home now, it feels like everything's real rushed.
Yeah.
And it's like hopping from there to there to there. Where I feel like it's like we were talking about earlier in the earlier previous podcast is like trying to be more present when I'm home, which I did feel like when I met up with my auntie, which was nice. But yeah, it was just the weekend like it blinked and I was back in work on Monday already. But I feel like that's just like normal life now as an adult, isn't it?
I suppose though, it probably felt like, I know I remember you saying before about like trying to stay present and stuff, but like you really do only have like a block like set of like maybe maximum like 5 hours with a person. Like, obviously maybe like that might have been the case with your auntie, obviously not for like the weekend thing, but I imagine like when you came home at Christmas that was the case. Like, I know we only got like 3 hours, which is because you have to like also factor in travel time and you're trying to see as many people as possible. So yeah, I can imagine. So but yeah, it went super quick. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that is going to happen a lot though when you come back and you're seeing your friends. Because then also you don't want to like be stressing too much about time as well. You also just want to like have the laugh and be in the moment and catch up and stuff. So it was nice seeing all the lads again and having DMCs and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, does like do you miss that? Is that something you look forward to then when like people come over to you, because you do kind of get that more bit of breathing room, I suppose. Like, especially like with friends and family. Like, is that something that is kind of like on your minds, that it's a bit more relaxed because you're not bouncing between place to place, person to person?
yeah, like my mom's coming on Monday for a week this time rather than 3 days. And last time when she was here, it was kind of like all go 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 because I wanted her to see as much as the town and Switzerland as possible. You're not like you're showing off, but it is kind of a way you want them to be like, oh, look how great this country is. This is why I moved here.
Yeah.
And it makes them feel more safe about you being away because I'm sure for parents as well, it's probably really hard of family and friends moving away.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's probably a peace of mind for them as well. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
that you know you're safe.
Mm. But yeah, I'm stuck out in Ballyfermot, the the safe haven of Dublin.
How are you finding the house?
Yeah, grand. We're kind of nearly finished with house stuff. Where it's mainly just the hall and the couch now. So the big thing for us is like picking out a couch. Like, I don't know about you. This is actually something I wanted to bring up like once or twice. But like what's like, since like you've gotten your own place and stuff.
Mm.
Like, what's the like things you thought when you were younger you were never gonna get into, but now you like love, like, and like my example of this. I don't know how this has happened because my mom used to love this, and I used to be always like, oh, I don't get it, but now I absolutely love it. Right, and I tell you, it's candles. I love candles now.
Yeah, that IKEA section in like everyone knows about that. The IKEA section of candles is crazy. You just walk and you just get this whiff of vanilla. It's
Yeah,
so nice.
but like not like, I'm at the stage now where like when me and Simone go like to Liffey Valley or go shopping, like I'm going candle shopping. Like, I have one. I don't think, well, if anybody is watching, you might be able to see like up here beside this Marvel thing. I have a candle lit, but like every day my office has a candle lit now. Like, and I don't know. It's just something like my ma used to love it, and I was always like, ugh, what? Who cares about candles now? I'm like, if my office doesn't have the right hint of vanilla and candlewood, I'm gonna snap.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but like I just love candles now. And listen, like, do you have any things like that? Like, I know, like, something you probably like as well as me is like cooking stuff, like cooking utensils, and
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
having like the special types of saucepans and all that sort of jazz, like,
Yeah. Definitely. Even I get the candle thing. Like if you when you clean the house and all you want to do is just put a candle to finish off. It's like the icing on top. Like you know, like when you bake a cake and it's bland, you just put a little bit of ice and it gives it flavor. It's the exact same when you're cleaning the house. You like once you just light that candle at the end, it's just like, oh yeah, this is the Pinterest account ready. Yeah.
Do you know I do like Simone's dinner sometimes. Like if I've like made dinner and it just looks a bit like it might like just be like veg and a piece of meat and like spuds or something like that, but like that can look a little plain if you don't have like gravy or like you don't kind of like sex it up on the plate. And sometimes I'll just like throw sesame seeds on it just for the laugh because they don't taste like that and they don't add any text. They just look a little bit fancy, you know.
It's like parsley.
Yeah, parsley's the exact same. Yeah.
Parsley is just like we call it the green dust in work because it's just like, oh, did you put the green dust on it? It just adds. I don't know. It could just look bland and you just sprinkle a little green and it just looks fancy. I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway,
I have actually a pretty good story from last week that I purposely I texted like most people about this, but I didn't tell you because I wanted to tell you on the podcast, right? Okay. So it was like last Wednesday, because I was in the office. So last Wednesday, I was downstairs. Simone going up to have a shower, and I was just like wrapping up downstairs, like doing the closing shift as you would, wiping down the tabletops and putting the pillows and the blankets back on the couch where they're supposed to go. And I was letting the dog out for her nightly was, and I was making a cup of tea. And so I opened the door, and like Zena usually will just like stroll out, grand no bar, but like Zena lashed out, like she like pounced out, and I was like, what the fuck? And like I saw something move and go into a corner behind our bin, and Zena was going nuts, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And then because Zena was chasing this thing, it came out the opposite side of the bin, and it was a rat. And it was a fat rat, lads. Like, it was the size of my shoe, and I'm a size 12. Like, this massive fucking rat comes strolling out. And because Zena was chasing it, the angle she had it at, the only angle the rat had was to run towards the house, and the rat got into the house.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Yeah, so the rat gets in the house, and, like, I was just standing at the back door, like, so the thing runs across my foot. Well, I say run across my foot. It actually ran across my Croc. Not sponsored, but Crocs, if you do want to sponsor this rat-related post, absolutely free to, please.
3 mentions in a row now.
Yeah. But yeah, this rat runs across my Croc, so I screamed like a girl. I just like screamed like such a bitch. I went, ah! And like I don't really mind rats or like creepy crawlies or anything like that, but I just kind of shat myself, let off a big scream, and like I wasn't planning on guests coming in. So the sitting room door was like from the kitchen was also open, so it ran into the sitting room and just ran behind our 2-seater couch. And Xena is going ape shit. Like Xena's like pacing back and forward on our 2-piece, going like zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. And then I tried to ring Simone, she didn't answer. She was doing her hair and she didn't hear her phone vibrating or whatever. And I just had to text him like, Simone, help. There's a mouse in the house, because I didn't realise it was a rat at this point as well. I thought it was a mouse. Yeah. Like I said, this thing was huge. I just hadn't seen a rat since I was a kid, And Simone comes down, and our doors don't have like they do have handles, but they don't have like the lock stuff inside. So like for us to close our doors, we just kind of had to put weights in front of the doors because we need to get them fixed. But because of that reason, Simone couldn't come in because it was like at the couch beside the door. So if Simone opens the door, then the rat's going to get out, and then it's going to run upstairs or whatever. So like Simone just has to like stay behind the door, and I'm there with like a dustpan and brush, like whacking it, and just trying to get the thing to come out in my Crocs, and then like whacking it, and then if Xena does something, just going every couple of minutes because I'm getting a fright, like because I'm on edge. So eventually I had to go in next door. And I had to go in and get Simone's dad. So Simone's dad comes in, and he's there trying to get this thing out. And what we had to do was we just like build like a fort. This is like any like kid or let's be real 25-year-old man's dream, where we had to like make a fort for the thing to come out. So we got like loads of big sheets of like metal blocking off like half the sitting room. Then we had to like block off underneath the telly, so it didn't just run under there and stay under there. And then, had to do the same thing in the kitchen, so it didn't go like under the oven or under like up where the bin is and stuff, like like where it could get like behind there and you'd never get it out then, So yeah, eventually we done that, and Simone's dad got the thing out, and Xena was like, this took about half an hour to do. Like this wasn't like quick and easy. Like this was like a whole like half an hour process, and then the rat gets out, and that's fine, and Xena at the end, like the dog is like like full of adrenaline. That's gonna sound really weird on the audio, just me going. On the podcast, but anyway, so like Xena is like wreck. Well, she's full of adrenaline, right? But the second she gets into bed, I didn't see her for 12 hours. Like she just stayed under the covers and was like knocked
Dude,
out.
was dead. That's mad.
Yeah, that was quite. It was really really funny. Like
what did when Simone's dad answered the door? What did he say? Because you obviously were in Crocs on his way.
Yeah, pretty much yeah, he was packing the house up himself, ready to go to bed, and like he just had to come out and do it. He was like, "Oh, all right, grand," and like he was even caught off guard by how big the thing was. Like the thing was huge. Like,
oh, he's probably expecting this tiny little rat,
yeah,
or little mouse.
Just to explain as well, like we don't keep a filthy house. We do have horses out the back, so that type of. We were kind of expecting like this is the season where like rats and mice come out because it's like end of hibernation stuff. So like it's been something we've been talking about, like we might see mice around because they could have hibernated like somewhere around that area because there is lots of wildlife.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, the house, it's probably messy in some parts, but it's not that messy.
The set Ratatouille 2 is on Sean's house. Remy upstairs. Yeah, Remy's in the kitchen.
But yeah, that's my weekly tangent.
That's gas. Poor Simone. Poor Simone must have been so confused what's going on. You're just screaming downstairs.
She was like, I just heard you go, ah! It was obviously a lot louder than that, but I don't want to deafen the headphone listeners.
For the viewers.
Yeah. Thinking of you guys always,
That's it.
But yeah, it was quite funny. I hadn't had any experience with rats in years. Last time I was around rats was when we first moved into my house in Mulhuddart back in the day. And do you remember? You would have remembered my old house, and that there was a decking at the back.
Yeah.
So under that decking, we used to get rats all the time. So we used to have to put out traps and poison and stuff So I would have seen rats all the time as a kid. So I think that's one of the reasons maybe why I'm not too squeamish. I mean, it was just the fact it ran across my foot and I got a bit of a fright.
I was just wonder are they actually smart enough to just rob the cheese and not get trapped? Like, are they? No, I used to always think about that.
It's not actually Ratatouille, man. Like, they're not using the cheese.
No, but you say that. But then there was times when I used to live in Cavan in a cottage, and we went through a summer where there was a lot of we kept finding rats everywhere near the back shed. So my mum left loads of cheese out with the mouse traps, and all the cheese was gone. And me and my mum were convinced that these were magician rats just coming in, getting the cheese and just dipping off. And then we actually realised that the trap was actually broken on all the latch, so that they were literally going up, getting the cheese, and then running off. And then
they were basically our pets.
I tell you that pretty much. No wonder they got so big at the end of it, getting hefty off the brie.
Yeah, but I love how your logic there was oh, can they just sniff out cheese well, when you would literally lay cheese out for them on broken traps.
But we didn't we only realised after the fourth time. I was like, Mom, hold on, there's something going on here.
Not that smart. Yeah,
no.
So you're kind of cool with rodents and stuff as well.
Yeah, just spiders. It's funny because I'm obsessed with Spider-Man, as Sean himself knows as well. We're two really big Spider-Man fans.
Quite literally big.
Genuinely one big, one small. And I don't know, maybe it's just from a young age, just always been afraid of them. And only recently have I been able to get confidence for the small ones. I'm not able to put them on my hand, but I'm able to do the whole tapping the screen to get them away.
Shoo,
yeah. Shoo. But there's some big boys here. I caught one the other day in the corner, and I was like, Nicola, get in here now. I had lift.
What did she have to deal with? Or did
yeah, oh no, full on. I was like, Nicola loves them. Nicola's grand with them.
I would have thought it was around.
No. And any bugs and stuff bugs, wasps, bees, I'm fine with. Completely fine. It's just if I actually see it.
You're a big bee advocate. That's one thing I know.
I love bees because I love honey. I have
Yeah.
honey every day. And plus, we wouldn't have any plants if it wasn't for bees pollinating. So just
Shout out to the
putting it
bees.
out there.
Shout out to
Shout
Barry
out
B.
to the
Benson.
bees. Yeah. Barry B. Benson.
What a
Black and
man.
yellow, black and yellow. Ooh, yellow, black. B movie's a
Yeah.
gold movie.
It is good. There was a couple of months ago where me and Simone went to Belfast. So no, actually, it was just over a year ago. We went to Belfast, and we got into our hotel room. You know yourself when you check into a hotel, there's like no channels, and
Yeah.
like like it's always the case that you only get like 5 channels anyway. And like we went in. And like one of the channels was just playing the B movie, and it just started, and we literally sat there and watched the whole B movie in our
Respect.
hotel because like the
Respect.
Netflix wouldn't work either. Like it was one of those old tellies where like Netflix was like,
Yeah.
one of the most complicated things for it to launch. So yeah, we watched the B movie in a hotel room in Belfast. Very romantic scene, you know. Speaking of Spider-Man, we won't stay on this one for too long, right? But speaking of Spider-Man, I'd love to get your thoughts on the clips that have been released for Daredevil.
Yes.
I am so excited, man.
Been trying not to look at it too much. I watched the original trailer that they dropped, and then I watched the first sneak peek when they were having the conversation at the cafe, I think it was. It's so hard not to get the hype at the moment. I'm currently rewatching the show. I'm on the end of season 1, so I have a good bit of binge watching to do this week to catch up in time. If not, I'll probably just skip. She's not, but she's kind of seeing bits and saying that she would like to watch it eventually. But that's actually a good thing because it's always good when your partner doesn't watch the show, so you can always rewatch it with them.
Yeah.
I'm also recommending Severance to you. I think I said it to you before.
Yeah, that's on my list to get to. We're in the middle of Dexter at the moment. We're on season 5 of Dexter. We actually stopped watching. We got to the end of season 4 of Dexter, paused, and then went to Invincible because Simone hadn't seen Invincible yet. And I obviously had, so we binged the 2. I say binge, like you can watch Invincible like super quick, so like 2 episodes a night in a week, and we were done. And Simone's on the Invincible train, so we're all caught up on that now. So that's releasing weekly because we were just thinking that if we just kept going with Dexter, we were going to have to catch up on Invincible, and then we also have to catch up on Daredevil. And me and Simone are way too big a Daredevil fans not to be watching that as it comes out every week. That's when me and Simone started going out. That was like one of the first things that we like. That was one of our first like chats on Bumble. You know, like I love Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. Like
there is.
Oh man. There was one day where me and Simone went out. We were just out in town for lunch or something like that, and Simone was like going to work, and I was going home. And it was like we'd been in town. We were around we were on like O'Connell Bridge where we like parted ways, and then I was on the bus, and I was on the bus like 10 minutes, and I saw a post that Charlie Cox was in Forbidden Planet on at Tampa Bar on the Keys. And like I rang Simone and was like, "Look who's in Dublin like right now." This like the photo was only up like 5 minutes, like so like it just like come out that he was in the area, and like me and Simone were like losing our minds. We're like, "No, we could have went around." Like he's one of the people, one of the few celebrities like I'd really like to meet. Like I'd consider going to like a conference or a signing or a Comic-Con or something if he was there, just because I love him. He's just dead.
You should have seen when we went to see. I think it was No Way Home. It was myself, Nicola, and Finn. And like 15 minutes into the movie, if you haven't seen it already, spoiler alert, he makes a little cameo in it. And you should have seen Nicola was getting topped like this. Poor Nicola's getting whacked in the back, and Sean's looking at me and staring at me, and we're getting hyped in the corner.
I loved Andrew and Toby, man, but I said long before I didn't care. I didn't mind if they weren't in it as long as Charlie was in it. So when I saw Charlie pop up, I was just like, right, this film is like fully valid for me. Love this. He's a really good lawyer.
One thing,
he is a really good lawyer.
Really good lawyer with a heart of gold. One thing I wanted to say actually, and I think you might agree with me on this. I'm really enjoying the format now. With Invincible, for example, is kind of doing it, and Severance too. Is they're dropping 3 episodes of a season, and then every week it's on 1 episode per week. And I feel like we're going back to that way of TV where years ago when there was no streaming services, it was like you had to wait every week for the next episode, or you could record it and then watch it the next day. I'm kind of like really enjoying that. I was interested if the viewers would probably agree, but I wanted to get your perspective on it.
Yeah, I as long as they don't do what Invincible did for season 2. Invincible season 2's release was absolutely ridiculous. Like, because they don't. For anybody that doesn't know, they basically Invincible season 1 came out in 2020, or 2021, one or the other,
2021,
and they took like 3 or 4 years to make the next season, which is fine. It's animated, and the animation is really, really good and really brilliant. So like, not like shitting on that, but they released 4 episodes and then took like another 4 months to finish the rest of the season, and then released the next 4. So I think it was like starting November 2023, and then the rest of the episodes came out in March 2024, so last year. Which is just like, it just killed all the hype because it's a really good season. I really enjoyed watching it back there. That was the first time I'd like watched the whole second season through, like kind of consistently, like not week to week, like not as it was coming out. I enjoyed it way more because I just watched that as a whole, instead of it just was really drawn out. It made me kind of lose a bit of interest. Like I'd probably look back on that season and not reflect as fondly on it because of that, because of how it was released. But yeah, agree. And Severance is one I'm going to get to. It's a really good year for TV this year because like you said, you've got Severance, you got Daredevil, you got The Boys, you got The Bear.
I feel like last year. Sorry for going to cross you, but I felt like last year was like really big on films, but I feel like this year is like really for TV programs. The White Lotus is another one I keep getting that keeps coming up on my suggestions.
Yeah, me and Small starting that. Yeah,
so I feel like this year is definitely big for TV in terms of series. I don't know if you've ever seen Shogun.
Season 3.
Squid Game season 3.
The Premier League.
I think they're starting. Premier League, of course.
The football will be back.
The football will be back. Maybe not for United, but we'll leave it there. Let's not get into it.
I can't even say.
I actually struggle talking about my club. Yeah, it's getting to the point where I struggle talking about it.
Yeah, I was so annoyed. I was watching the Chelsea Villa game the other day, and I was just like, it's just so deflating watching both of our teams at the moment. Like, we're both just so shy, I just know the word for it. We're both just shit. But anyway, digress for anybody who's not interested in football. But yeah, it's a really, really good year for TV though. So like, I just think like that's why we're like with Dexter. It's why we kind of took the pause, because now we can like watch Dexter 5 days a week, do Invincible on Thursdays, and then next week when Daredevil comes out, we can do like Wednesday and Thursday are non-Dexter days, and then binge through the rest of Dexter, which we're really enjoying. I have to say, anybody who hasn't seen Dexter, I would highly recommend it. I didn't think I'd love it as well. Like I didn't think it would kind of be up there for me for like favorite TV shows at the start, but it's like it just gets a bit more interesting as it goes along. Like it's very much like, oh yeah, this is fine to have on, but it gets pretty good pretty quick. Like
yeah, so, it gets juicy. Serial killer with a heart of gold.
When did you watch it? It was a couple of years ago, was it?
I watched it about 3 years ago. All the way through, and then growing up, my mom watched a good bit of it, so I used to watch a couple of seasons and episodes with her. So I remember very fondly watching it, and then I was like 3 years ago, I was like, oh, it's on my streaming platform, I'll just watch the whole thing all the way through. My only 2 shows for me that I want to watch all the way through is I've never watched any of The Wire. That's meant to be brilliant.
Yeah, The Wire.
And then also brain fart. I've watched half of The Sopranos, so I want to rewatch all of that. The problem with Sopranos is like some people don't like the show talking in it, and there's a lot of it, and then other people do like it. So it's kind of it's an up and down show.
I've never. You know the ending to it, and I won't spoil the ending for folks in the podcast, but I've never been so annoyed at a show's ending in my life. Like it's just so. Like it just for me, it just felt like a middle finger to the time that I'd put into the show, because it's very. Yeah, I won't get into it because I'll end up slightly spoiling it. But anybody who knows what happens at the end of The Sopranos, it wrecks my head. It really does. And I don't mind a bit of shy talk, and I don't mind a bit of filler. And I get it's like from like that era, it kind of inspired that era of television where you have Breaking Bad and Saul and Dexter and stuff, where it becomes more of a kind of season storytelling. I know that wasn't like necessarily the thing when The Sopranos was coming out, but like some episodes like I was watching and I felt like I was watching them for like 3 hours, and it was like less than an hour, just because the pacing is really slow and because there is so much filler. Like the actual like plot of the season, there's maybe 3 episodes about that in a season at times. You know, there is like
Yeah.
some really good episodes though in season 3, and a lot of the most interesting stuff has got to do with Tony's family, and like the actual mob stuff is like it's nothing that you haven't already seen in The Godfather and in Goodfellas and Heat and like any other kind of Italian mob slash
Gangster
kind of
movie.
gangster film.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're not
Yeah.
getting that new in that respect. Like, you know,
Yeah, it really is like I feel like you really gotta be into watching gangster movies, and if that's not your thing, then I wouldn't give The Sopranos a watch. And beside that as well, it's kind of like it's a lot on character development, but it sometimes feel like Sean was saying it can be just really, really slow. Like, and I wouldn't even call it a slow burner because you mightn't sometimes get what you want out of a character or out of a situation watching the show. So you're a bit like. Yeah, but I think I will get around to it
I also
eventually.
find the show very predictable as well. Like, I could see, and I'm not like Simone's great at that. Simone, the amount of times when one we're rewatching a show I've already seen, Simone goes, "Oh, I think that's gonna happen," and then it happens, and I'm like, "Oh, it's
Yeah,
a bit annoying that you cops that." And then like we'll be like at the moment I've not seen Dexter, she's not seen Dexter, and the amount of times she's gone like, "Oh, I think this is gonna happen," and it just happens. She's just so good at picking up, you know, stuff when you rewatch shows that you go, "Oh my god, that was there," and you just didn't know. Simone picks on it. Sorry, Simone picks up on it straight away. You know,
Nicola's a bit like that as well recently.
yeah, it's so annoying.
Yeah, because we're watching House of Dragon, and the amount of things that Nicola's able to predict in this show is crazy. Like she predicted nearly the full ending of season 1, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" But I feel like at the moment now, watching the show, I'm kind of getting over the whole Game of Thrones side of watching, so I'm trying to just get through this season so we can get over it. And then I was saying to her, she's actually talking about starting Dexter as well, so I might just rewatch that with her.
I would say
Um,
to her if she can do Daredevil first, because Daredevil,
yeah,
you'll get through it quicker.
the thing is as
And
well, I actually think she'll like Daredevil because of the way the first season's done. It's also very like the layout of Law and Order. You kind of can a little bit agree with me there with the way that it's done
yeah,
with
man,
the whole
I just love everything. Everything about Daredevil except the second half of season 2 is like perfect television.
Daredevil and The Punisher are my two favorite series that they've done by Marvel.
Yeah. So like for like TV, I would say, like there's one show me and you both haven't watched that I always consider the big five of TV is this isn't in any particular order. It's Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, The Wire, Game of Thrones, and I would probably put Dexter up there as the fifth one, but I would say over time, I think Better Call Saul is going to come into that gap. I think Better Call Saul will take over in Dexter as like the big five TV shows that, like, you know, like everyone should watch The Godfather, everyone should watch like Shawshank Redemption. I think they're like the five TV shows that like you have to at least try at some point, just because like every time I like go on to like any like video, I know not everybody watches video essays, but like any like video essay YouTubers or you know any like top 10 list of best TV shows of all time, like that's five TV shows that are always in the bracket. So yeah, the only one of those I haven't checked off is The Wire. The only one I didn't finish is Game of Thrones. I got to 2 seasons of Game of Thrones. I just couldn't get into it, and that's more because of the. I think the kind of I'm not a big fan of like the likes of like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter because of like the kind of fantasy and mythical elements of it. Like I appreciate these are fantastic films, and I know Game of Thrones is a fantastic show from like how it's made and how it's acted and how it's written and stuff. I just can't like I can't binge it, or I can't like, you know, get into it as much. I just zone out watching them. Just I don't know, they just don't grip me as much, like, you know. So yeah, I just have the wire to tick off on those ones.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you with the list. The fifth spot is kind of hard because I watched Better Call Saul after Sean had watched it. I did enjoy the show. I do think it's brilliant the way it's written, especially the character development of Saul. I just think that it's not going to drag people's attentions in if they haven't seen Breaking Bad as a standalone. Because everyone knows Breaking Bad. There's so many like sponsorships, and always wherever we go across the world, there's always like memorabilia from the movies that you can buy. I just never see it of Saul. And that's why I feel like what people are going to be more dragged to watch Breaking Bad over Better Call Saul. So the fifth spot, I genuinely don't have a suggestion for you. But yeah, I do agree. The Wire is the only one on that list that I have to watch. And
It's
then
not
there's
that long. I think
also
it's only like 4 or 5 seasons as well. Like it's not
yeah,
like Dexter's 8 seasons, and now they're making the prequel
it's
to it
long.
as well. And Game of Thrones is
Mm-hmm.
8 seasons. Sopranos is
Long.
6, but it's
Six.
like it's not even the fact that it's 6. It's 13 episodes a season, which is the same amount as Better Call Saul, but they're also longer episodes. Like some episodes are like an hour and a half, some episodes are an hour and 15. And then, now, to be fair, some of them are 45 as well. Like every show has its kind of like fluctuations on run times and stuff. So like I get that, but like Sopranos often goes over the hour mark. Like whereas like Breaking Bad is
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
consistently on the 48 to like 53 kind of mark. Like and same with Saul. Like I loved Saul. Like like from a personal preference point of view, I think I've kind of edged Saul. I think Saul's kind of a bit more my favorite right now, but that could be recency bias as well because I've seen
Mm.
Saul twice recently since I've last watched Breaking Bad because I watched it as it came out for season 6, and then I rewatched it because Simone hadn't seen it. So
Yeah.
there might be an element of that. I think Simone said at like some point, maybe probably not this year because there's just so much television to watch this year, but we might rewatch the whole Breaking Bad universe and go from Saul instead of starting at Breaking Bad.
Yeah. I'd love to know if we have the polls from last week. We did ask some questions.
Yes, we do. Give me 1 second. I totally forgot to get them up. So if you
While
can
he's
just
talking about that, I will
fill
ramble
in the-
about. Yes, I
just tell us
watched.
about your week.
No, I'll say on the Better Call Saul. I watched it the first time with Nicola, and Nicola has this problem where we'll sit down to watch the show and she'll fall asleep after 5 minutes. So for my watching of that show was very stop start, and as Sean will probably know as myself, I tend to sit down and watch shows in like one sitting. Like if I'm hooked on a show, I'll sit there and watch it in a 45-minute viewing, episode after episode after episode after episode. So I think I need to go back and watch Better Call Saul, just by myself and watch it kind of without going on my phone. There was times where I did end up going on my phone because the first season does have a lot of kind of filler, and then it wasn't until the second season where I was hooked and I was like watching it, bit into it. So I think that's another thing I'd love to ask the viewers as well. Uh, is it okay to go on your phone watching the show? I think it is, but it really depends on the show. Like, because I feel like you're missing a lot when you're doing it. Because I've sat and watched shows and went on my phone and then be like, oh shit, I have to go back and watch it. I would say sitcoms is probably the only one that would be okay to get away with about going on your phone. But everything else is always just like, I feel like you're missing out on way too much. And if you look on for all our YouTube video viewers, you can just see Sean telling me to ramble. But yeah, and this week as well, I've just been working on my games room, and I'd love to show a before and after photo on the Instagram. So let us know if you'd like to see that too. And I also would love to get recommendations from the viewers in terms of wiring. I've also asked a question to Sean and two of my other mates as well, so that would be nice to get some advice on. And yeah, that's all me. I'll keep rambling. I feel like we're on a show and I'm like live TV
Sorry,
presenter.
I'm back. Sorry. The reason we had to do that is because I'm using my phone as like my camera, but I had to like go off my phone. So just if you didn't want to see me, like you could have got a very great close up of my Mac's keyboard.
The sweat was pouring down my face there trying to continue that conversation.
I was trying not to make noise so like the camera wouldn't like shift over to me, but I was just like, he is absolutely spoofing right now. So yeah, what do you want? So the poll for next week is what, like top 5 TV shows, and then is it acceptable to go on your phone while you're watching shows? I agree with what you said. I don't think you should do it unless it's a sitcom. Sitcoms are a bit more of a casual thing. The way me and Simone kind of do it is like when we're like having our dinner, we'll watch like The Chase or SpongeBob or Friends,
easy
or
viewing,
like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, something that you don't need to be like too tuned into, and then like after that we'll have something a bit more intense like Dexter, Breaking Bad, some of the shows that we mentioned before. But yeah, the polls. So this was all about Valentine's Day, and we were asking, did people think it was overrated? And this is the first time we've had a clean sweep. 100% of people said, yeah, it's overrated.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I agree. I think I was one of looking at the folks that said, yeah. I don't think it's as overrated as other things, though. Like, I don't think it's as overrated as Christmas is. Like, if you get me, because
I think the reason why people don't agree with you about the whole Christmas thing is probably 90% of our listeners, or 95% of them, do celebrate Christmas. So for us,
they grew up in stable households.
Yeah,
ourselves.
So jealous. Yeah, and then I feel like I celebrate Christmas, but it's probably just because it's all I've known since I've grown up.
Christmas with
so
the Qurans.
it's like Christmas with the Qurans, yeah.
Or the bars.
Yeah, but for me, it's not really a celebration. It's just another day. It genuinely is just another day. The whole season is just another day. And I do like watching the movies and doing all the presents and stuff like that. But I've had worse Christmases than better ones. So put it that way.
Yeah, I feel it's just the way kind of like how like I'm one of those like people that think like I don't like how heavily Christmas is like pushed in people's face, because I feel like if you're going to do that with Christmas, you should do it with every holiday. You should do it with Ramadan. You should do it with Hanukkah. You should do it with everything.
Yeah.
But like Christmas takes over the Western world anyway. Like when there's a lot of like there's like I think Islam's the most like followed religion in the world. Like so I would rather see everything celebrated on the same playing field, like so either make a big huge deal about everything, and I know it's like Ireland's a Catholic country and all, but like come on, we're not really not anymore.
We're not really
60s,
no the Catholicism ruled for too long.
Ask your grandparents about that one, kids. Anyway, and so again we just put up a question poll as well, just being like, oh, tell us why you think it is or isn't overrated. So this is all why people think it is overrated. So there was one response from somebody who I know is single. And the response was, I'm lonely. Of course I'm going to be bitter about it, which is great. Thanks. And then another very valid point of it, there's a lot of pressure for people to be buying presents, especially, I get that, especially because it's like so like personal and relationship related. It's like, if you don't do the right thing and then like they're comparing to others, like I'm very thankful Simone would be happy if I gave her a pair of socks.
Yeah.
She'd be with that, like
I think social media ruins that though, because it's like people are taking photos of all their luxury gifts that they got, and it's putting pressure on other relationships and being like, oh, how come that person got that and that person got that? But at least like it all depends. Like in a good sense, like if you're with someone who just appreciates a gift, it's nice. Like Nicola's like that as well. She's happy with anything you give her. So
yeah. I was that's another one of the points here, just about kind of like gestures and presents and stuff, like and sometimes it's only on Valentine's Day, which is something you talked about quite a lot last week. But we do have to wrap things up here, guys. We've got less than a minute on our free Zoom call because we need to set up a Patreon or something for this. Like this is getting out of hand.
Get the funding going, guys.
I'll just say, my guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for coming back after our little week hiatus there, and thanks so much for listening. And we'll chat to you next week. I'll hand you over to Imran.
Thanks, guys. Loving the support lately. I've been getting a lot of comments back from people, and I'm really looking forward to more episodes to come, guys.
Cool. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.
See you next week, guys.